What's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Why? Sometimes you just gotta shake your head and just be like, you know what I mean? Why do I continuously let y'all bring me back here? This video here, listen, this is the top 10 terrifying things recovered from the Amityville house. Amityville house, wherever you from, however you pronounce it, I say Amityville. However, that house, the crazy house, the house what left that family trying to get out of there. You know what I mean? That house, the house that had something happen before that family moved into it. Then they started experiencing all these different things, and then they got out of Dodge, which who blames them? You know what I mean? But they're the reason why I always be talking like this movie here alone is the reason why I always be like, man, do you really know the house that you're moving into? Do you really know if anything took place there? Have you researched any news articles? Have you looked up? Have you talked to the neighbors? See if anything went down at the place? You ever wonder why it's so cheap? Or why it's been sitting on the market for 3,000 days? It's because something like the Amityville horrors might have happened here. Amityville, I know y'all gonna kill me about how I pronounce it. So what? So what? But yeah, man, things recovered from this place. What else could have been recovered from this place? I don't know. I'm anxious. At the same time, I didn't want to be thinking. Now I got to go back and watch it. Now I do. I've been trying to avoid it, but now I got to go back and watch it. So we're going to get into this. If y'all are familiar with this story, if you are not, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself, all right? Listen, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, join the fam real quick. Moment of silence for the haters. That's enough. Now run the likes up. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Here we go.
The Amityville Horror was a film released back in 1979 and then redone again in 2005. These films are both based on the true story of the Lutz family, who after just 28 days of moving in, ran for their lives from this haunted house.
A month there, and they was like, nah, fam, this ain't it.
The house was a brutal crime scene years prior, and some still believe the house is the main source to blame here. Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Taylor McWaters, and here are the top 10 most terrifying things recovered from the Amityville house. It's gonna be a good one. Let's do it. Kicking off the list at number 10, demonic boy photo. That's a hot start. Doesn't matter where or when, but odds are you've probably seen this photo at some point in time. It's pretty haunting. You're not really gonna forget about it. Check it out. This photo was taken inside the Amityville house in 1976. It's a young boy with glowing white eyes. It was taken with automatic cameras equipped with infrared. A photographer named Gene Campbell took it, and Gene was working with paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren at this time. Yeah, the famous duo, now rocking the big screen Conjuring universe. They were on this case in real life, which is a fun little fact that not many know. This photo was revealed 3 years after it was taken on the Merv Griffin show, and many believe this is the ghost of John DeFeo, one of the boys who lived there prior during the 1974 attack. We're still trying to cover this today. What do you guys think? Elaborate hoax, or perhaps this photo is the only solid piece of evidence that the Amityville house is indeed haunted? Number 9.
I don't get what somebody had to gain from that. Like, what were they gaining? It was already labeled as or deemed as, you know what I mean? This place was haunted. Something wrong. So when it came out, like, I mean, well before I was born, I caught the 2005 version of it. You know what I mean? And that alone just blew my mind. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm still to this day, when I'm moving into a place, I want to know everything about it.
9. New owners. So less than a year after the DeFeo attack, the house was listed at $80,000, which is absolutely insane. The property was massive and beautiful for that matter, despite the horrible history. Back in 1927, a young couple named John and Catherine Moynihan, they built this home, and their families lived there until 1965, and then they sold it to the DeFeos.
This is when the realtor, right, when you sign and they looking over his shoulder to be like, oh, this fool is actually signing this. Oh, I actually finally sold this place. It's an office pool somewhere where they got money thrown in. If anybody can sell this place, you get this pot of money. Like, this person is looking at you like, so you should know, huge house for cheap. First red flag.
Built this home, and their families lived there until 1965, and then they sold it to the DeFeos. Now, nothing paranormal had taken place before this. Nobody went insane overnight. It was just a home. To see the price of $80,000 for this house, the Lutz family just couldn't say no. They of course got their new home cleansed as soon as they moved in. They had a priest come in and do his whole thing, but evidently it still wasn't enough. As soon as they moved in, the Lutz family started to hear banging on the walls. Doors would start slamming all by themselves, and George started to hear voices, but I'll get into that a little bit later on.
But they made it 28 days. Doors slamming, I'm hearing noises. How did they make it 28 days?
Even got more than they bargained for when they moved in price-wise, because they discovered a secret room. Number 8, the red room. No, not that red room, sickos. When the couple
That's where my mind automatically went. We got dirty minds, y'all. Oh, blame 50 Shades of Grey for that. Thank y'all. Blame them for that. Automatically. If give me a 1 in the comment section, bro. If your mind automatic, as soon as you said red room, your mind went there. Oh, y'all are some sick individuals.
Secret room. Number 8, the red room. No, not that red room, sickos. When the couple first moved in, they had building plans, right? They wanted to see every measurement, every angle, every room, every nook and cranny. That's the whole point of moving into a home. You kind of need to know, what it is. Especially after something that horrible happens. You're like, okay, can we look at the basement, please? They discovered a small red room when they got there, not listed on these plans. It was a 4-foot by 5-foot room hiding behind a shelf in the basement. It was painted blood red. It wasn't actual blood, but still, it's creepy. Harry refused to go near it. See, Harry was the family lab, and we all know dogs don't lie. Especially when they do that half bark thing too. That's always creepy. When they're like, bleh, bleh. Like commit, bark or don't bark. Number 7, green.
He said commit or don't commit. Bark or don't bark. He perfectly described what I be telling my dog, bro. Like, what is it? Like, don't give me half signs. Tell me the whole thing. What's going on, boy? Let me know. Bark or don't bark. That was funny.
Like commit, bark or don't bark. Number 7, green ooze. In the old Amityville movie, based on the book, there's a scene where the walls are bleeding. Check it out. Now, while this adds a horror element to the film, it's also even more messed up in real life. Well, maybe not more, but it's definitely still odd. Green ooze would apparently leak through these walls, and green ooze would drip through the keyhole of the playroom door. That was the final touch that made the Lutz family decide to run for their lives. Without bringing anything with them, might I add. Yeah, if my house was trying to Nickelodeon slime me at 3 a.m., I'd probably move out as well. When asked about the haunted ooze, both Kathy and George passed a lie detector test. They passed. We got ooze in the walls, Harry Potter's red room in the corner. What else? Number 6, demonic pig. Okay, that's what else. I have to mention this one. It's the weirdest details of all that I could find with this house and all the events that happened. The demonic pig incident, of course. We're not sure if this really happened or not, but either way, it's kind of funny, kind of creepy. The same lawyer who represented Ronald DeFeo had met with the Lutz family. They were looking to dive further into the demonic aspect of this whole case, so who better to talk to than the guy from the original family attack back in 1974, I guess. The lawyer came out and said that there was a cat that would often visit the Lutz family, and it would bug the family through the window sometimes. The lawyer, Weber, told us the cat thing, but the Lutz family claims that it was actually a demonic green-eyed pig that would terrorize them through these windows. Weber insists that this was all made up, but Daniel Lutz, who was 9 at the time of all of this, he said in a 2013 documentary that the demonic pig visits were very real. What do you guys think, demon pig or demon cat?
Like, if I wake up and see a pig and I ain't got a hankering for bacon, so that's a problem. That's a green-eyed pig. Like, he on that stuff. Like, it's like this pig is on that stuff. No, man. Again, how did they make it 28 days? Like, you got some real patience. They got real patience, bro. Like, me and Queen would have looked at each other and be like, Queen would have been like, I ain't staying here. I'm like, babe, we just signed the paperwork. We just got the keys. Remember, we took the picture and the selfie in front of the house and everything. I ain't staying here. But we took the soul sign off of the front and took. I'm not staying here tonight. You can stay here. His wishes. You can stay. I'm not staying here.
Either way, both pretty silly. Number 5, moving sale. So when the Lutz family left the house and vowed to never return again right after what happened with the DeFeo family, that's one thing that's haunting in itself, but eventually the belongings have to be figured out. They have to be tossed or sold. And back in August 2010, they were sold. There was this massive yard sale, a moving sale rather, where they just got rid of everything. And by this time, there had now been 2 movies on the Amityville horrors, so fans showed up. People showed up with like Ryan Reynolds t-shirts. There were hundreds lined up around the block for the chance to buy something from the Amityville house. There was even a sign that said no children, no cell phones, no cameras. Yeah, like it's a Lady Gaga concert. You have to like tuck your phone away. But the disturbing part here is that actual neighbors showed up. It was hard on them because they actually knew the DeFeo family. This was emotional for them. They haven't seen anything in the house for...
That's a good question too. Like if you were a neighbor of that house, are you staying there? Because in my mind, like what's stopping it from not spilling over into my home? Bro, they said green ooze was coming out. Green-eyed pigs I'm seeing in the middle of the night. It sounded like they was on some shrooms or something like that, but green-eyed pigs I'm seeing in the middle of the night. As when I see them move, if I'm the neighbor, this family something happened to the family beforehand, and now this family is running for the hills. Yeah, babe, I know you were attached to this house, but I think we need to move too before we start experiencing some of the things that they're experiencing. I ain't trying to do that.
For years, but now they have to wait behind 100 haunted house spooky fans. How disturbing is that? A violent attack on a family, and then some dude from Phoenix is like, I got the TV remote. Still works. Yes. Number 4, address change. Okay, back in 2017, the house sold again, this time for $605,000. A bit more bang for your buck. The famous 112 Ocean Avenue is now 108 Ocean Avenue, and they changed the number to hopefully deter tourists. Could you imagine ghost hunting teams just showing up out of the blue while you're in the middle of brunch? I get it, change the address, change the name, everything. The house has actually been owned by 4 different families since the attack back in the 70s. And the house honestly has never looked better than today. None of those other families reported any paranormal activity, and when you consider the fact that the Lutz family was in a financial struggle, it doesn't seem too crazy to make up a paranormal story and then try and sell it to the world. Evidently, if that's the case, it worked. We're doing it. I'm doing it right now. It's my job to do this right now. Perhaps one of the darkest details recovered was from the Lutz family lawyer. Number 3, many bottles of wine. When you hear about the demonic pig head or green ooze coming from the walls, you gotta think at one point, okay, this is obviously made up. This has to be a lie. I myself have never seen ooze coming from a keyhole, and the Lutz former lawyer, William Weber, straight up came out and said that these hauntings were discussed and planned out and never happened. They were discussed over many bottles of wine. Yeah, that ought to do it. The same lawyer as Ronald DeFeo had to deal with this. What a life. In 1979, Weber told People magazine that he helped create these stories. He was involved, and that they all took real life incidents but gave them a haunting twist, like the cat and then the pig head, for instance. That's what many bottles of wine will do to you. Maybe the walls weren't covered.
So what do y'all think? Who do y'all believe? Who do y'all believe? I think, I don't know. Because on one hand, it could be true. They could have came up with this, but on the second hand, I just don't think it works out in their favor. Or the family that moved there. What are you gonna gain? Publicity, public notoriety, for how long? And then with monetary, I mean, the movie, are they gonna pay you for your stories? Like, where are you going with this? Make it make sense to me. I'm slow. Make it make sense to me. I'm just, little L, little small little brain L. Make it make sense to me.
Covered in ooze or blood or anything. Maybe they were just covered in wine because they were all drunk, banging into the halls, trying to plan out how they can be rich. Or maybe the entire thing was real. This next one should spark a conversation. Number 2, Daniel Lutz. Daniel was just 9 years old when these hauntings took place. He was 9 when he and his family had to run away in the middle of the night. He's not gonna forget that. That's gonna be some trauma up here. He's recently told his side of the story in a documentary called My Amityville Horror. Now, the film's director, Eric Walter, says he believes something happened to these people, but we just don't know exactly exactly what it was yet. He was contacted by a friend of Daniel's, and then come 2009, Walter and Daniel met. Daniel was now in his 40s, and he's not in the best shape when it comes to talking about the house still. He says he's been running away from this thing his entire life, and now finally it caught up. Also, Daniel's friend just totally outed him. I don't know who that is, but come on, man. He's like running away from a haunted house, and he's like, that's the guy, that's Daniel, get him. Daniel lives a quiet life now, but to this day he stands by the fact that that house was haunted, and he has nightmares of everything that happened still today.
That's why, man. Sometimes that's why I be telling y'all, man, you be thinking you have it bad. Imagine somebody who had to deal with that. You running around here, oh man, I can't this, and I gotta worry about getting back in shape, and my life ain't what it is. Did you go through a horrified, traumatic experience to where it stays with you for the rest of your life? You know what I mean? The rest of your life. People probably don't want to get next to you, be around you, or you can't deal with people because of the things you went through. You probably can't close your eyes because you're dealing with this, like, you know what I mean? Like in Nightmare on Elm Street, you couldn't go to sleep because he was there in your dreams. You dealing with things in your dreams. So you want in something, like you want to stay up. Like, nah, man, that's tough to be dealing with, man. I tip my hat to him to have to deal with that for the rest of your life, bro. That would drive me insane.
Number 1, occult ties. Okay, so we've heard some things that sound very real. The DeFeo lawyer, his side, the son of the Lutz family who was trying to avoid being discovered all this time. It's fishy. It's all a little fishy. But what?
And that's another thing, man. You be trying to stay low key, under the radar, speak gliding, and then somebody points you out. Oh, yo, there you. Really, dude? Really, dude? Nah, I gotta take you. You know what I mean?
The biggest clues as to what really happened in that house lies in George's bookshelf. The stepfather, George Lutz, had a history with dabbling in the occult. And on top of that, he would often wake up every night at 3:15 a.m., the same time that those horrible events took place with the family prior. So many believe that George's interest in the paranormal is actually what led him to be possessed by these dark spirits. The same spirits that perhaps had something to do with the brutal history to the family beforehand, the DeFeos. Guys, those were our top 10 most terrifying things recovered from the Amityville.
What y'all tell me 3 a.m. is anyway? Isn't that like witching hour or however y'all normally tell me what it is? Y'all always remind me and I always forget, man. I always tell y'all, my memory is super horribly. But yeah. So you gotta know what people are into, man. A lot of people are into that type of stuff, cults, and they think they're doing something or they're gaining this power or this is gonna give them a sign and they're leading people towards this and everything like that. And then you end up possessed and you messed up for the rest of your life. Think about that. Think about that. Hey, who am I? Again, slow well. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I think tonight I may not punish the family, but when it's my turn to pick the movie, I'm be like, yeah, Amityville horror time. We're gonna watch the Amityville horror. Yeah, go back and check it out, y'all. It's been a long time. I can't even hardly remember it, but now that I know some of this type of stuff, I'm gonna definitely be paying attention for little intricate details in the movie to see how they try to tie it in. You know what I mean? But yeah, y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Hopefully none of y'all watch this that are getting ready to move or just moved and y'all turn this video on first night in the house. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not sorry, but I'm sorry. But yeah, man, the top 10 terrifying things recovered from the Amityville house. It's your boy L. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Leave a like and stick around and stay tuned. Till the next reaction, I'm gone. Peace.